Hello y'all, what's up? My name is Elizabeth and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to talk about a poem that I previously released called A True Woman. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about the highlights of that video and understand the meaning behind the video as well. So with that being said, let's jump right in and get started. Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is when I said the feminist matriarchy. So this is pretty much, the whole video is pretty much about the feminist matriarchy and about women who believe the lies of the feminist matriarchy. Now notice I've been talking about the feminist matriarchy. I'm not talking about the patriarchy. There's probably, I think, one line where I might reference a little bit of the patriarchy. Then other than that, where I reference what the patriarchy has told women. Then other than that, the patriarchy is almost non-existent in this whole entire poem, because I kind of feel like oftentimes the biggest issue isn't the patriarchy, it's the matriarchy. When I looked at my personal life, taking my life as an example here, a lot of my strife was actually because I believed a lot of the lies from the feminist matriarchy, and I didn't realize that until I read Focus on the Family and about, like, I think 10 lies that women believe, and that comes from feminism. And I didn't realize that until I read that. I was like, oh my goodness, wow, I guess I do believe that. And for all my life, I never claimed I was a feminist, but I acted like one at times, and so it never came from the patriarchy. It came from the matriarchy, specifically the feminist matriarchy. And so, moving on from there, I want to talk about when I said to raise their bloodstained banner high. This is specifically in reference to pro-choice and the movement, and specifically the marches for it and the signs that they have. They're pretty much holding signs to say, hey, let me murder my child. Let a woman murder their child. I mean, that is literally what the sign is saying, if we really open our eyes to that. So that's why I said what I said there. And then later on, I talk about how they sacrifice their own child on the makeshift altar of self-fulfillment. And this also goes on to abortion. A lot of women go, oh, well, I'm not in the right season, I'm not in the right time, this isn't just going to work out for me. And so instead, they murder their child so they can fulfill whatever they think they need to go fulfill. When it comes to women sacrificing their children on the altar of the job, on the altar of money. Now, jobs and money, they can be needs for those, right? Provision. But sometimes it becomes over an obsession. Like, that is where their worth comes from. And ultimately, our worth comes from God. And so they're literally thinking that if they have this or if they have that, then that will fulfill them. And so they are so focused on that they're willing to sacrifice their children for getting that. Later on, I talk about, have they forsaken their own nature? So if you just look at the woman's anatomy, you can tell that a woman was made to nourish a child, to nourish a baby, and then to nourish the unborn, and then nourish the baby afterwards. Like, women were made for that. They weren't made to murder. They weren't made to neglect their own child, and so that's going against their own nature. And then I go later on and say, are they just pawns to the new master? And the new master I'm talking about is Satan. I'm talking about that they're trading, later on talking about trading God's word for the serpent and lies from old. I mean, this is the same old thing, Eve trading what God, trading the plans that God had for her and for her husband, and thinking, oh, I can gain all wisdom. And I mean, it's the same old lies, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Women thinking that they know better than God. It's the same old lies. One question I do have for the feminist matriarchy is, why is our standards based on men? I feel like feminism isn't about being a woman. It's about being a man. Later on, I talk about, why is feminist goal and ambition to be free and walk and live like men? Why is that our standard of living? Because men can't get pregnant. Now, pregnancy is a hindrance to women. Can't that be something that we thrive upon? Can't that be like a blessing? Something that's special that women have that men don't have, instead of looking at it as a negative? Another question is, I have is, why do women still claim that they're victims when there's no oppression? Like, women have opportunities today. Oftentimes women can have opportunities that men don't have. I remember that I could get a scholarship just because I was a woman. So tell me, oppression? Now I get it. Women have been hurt. Women have been victimized. But that doesn't mean they have to go and live the rest of their life as victims. I later talk about, why is victimhood's antidote to lasso a men by a rope? Why is women's ideas to antidote of being a victim is to take revenge on men, is to become victimizers by killing their own children, by forsaking their families? Why is that their solution? And then later on, I talk about, can we just speak honestly? If we really evaluated our life, are we really living the way that we thrive? Are we really thriving? Later on, I talk about a woman this, a woman that, just another name to slap onto a plaque. Now, I am grateful for the discoveries that women have made. I am grateful for women stepping into positions that they have never stepped in before. That is amazing. But for a woman to just do that just because of women, for a woman to get that just because of women, I think is wrong. I don't want to get a job or a position just because I am a woman. I don't want to get a scholarship just because I am a woman. I want that because I'm qualified for that position, or because I have worked hard to get that scholarship, not because I happen to be a woman. Later on, I talk about, have we truly found our freedom? Is the advice that the feminist matriarch are giving us really helping us to thrive? One thing that I really like that Elizabeth Elliot said in Let Me Be a Woman on page 23 is this. And I'm going to actually read the quote here. And as the bird easily comes to terms with the necessity of bearing wings when it finds that it is, in fact, the wings that bear up away from the world into the sky, into freedom, so the woman who accepts the limitation of womanhood finds in those very limitations her gifts, her special calling, wings which bear her up into perfect freedom, into the will of God. Pretty much the very thing that limits a woman is the very thing that makes a woman special, is the very thing that helps a woman to thrive. Just like the bird, the very wings that made the bird heavy and unable to run, maybe like a cheetah, is the very wings that are going to help it thrive into the sky. So the bird isn't like the cheetah. A woman is not like a man. They are different, and that's good, that's beautiful. And women have special opportunities that men don't have. When women embrace those special opportunities, that is where women thrive. I later on talk about, and this is the one thing I talk about that comes from the patriarchy, and that is women are slaves to our home. That is like a misconception that comes often from the patriarchy. And I get some patriarchies, some men have said that. And so I acknowledge that, but I think a lot of it now today is from the feminist matriarchy. And so I later go on and talk about, so what does it mean to be a woman? Beyond the age, beyond the name, beyond the life stage that we are in, what does it mean to be a woman? Because womanhood doesn't start with saying I do to a man in marriage. Womanhood begins when you are willing to accept and say I do to God's will and God's will to your life. And so I really did some study on this, and it's something that I have been kind of like mulling over since I was like 16. And after really studying Titus 2, 3 to 5 and Proverbs 31, after really like meditating on those verses and studying them and learning them from different classes, what I find is the common theme is the home. The home is the common theme. Women are made to make a home. Literally, their body becomes a home to a baby. So let's think about that. And then you can ask, what is a home then? Well, I think a home, as people say, the home is where your heart is at. Well, I think a home, in essence, is where you feel welcome, is where open arms are embraced. And I think women have been created in a way that opens doors and like welcomes people in. Women, if you look at how women are made versus how men are made, and the relationship, women are made for connection, and men are made for connection too, but women have the specialty of connection. When they talk, they're trying to find connection with a person. And I think women ultimately are created to make a home, as in that they are created to embody a type of place that feels safe around other people. That could be in the middle of a garage, in the middle of a war, and just sheltering a few people, or that could be actually a home and welcoming and having visitors come over if they're struggling or something like that. I think that's what it means to be a woman, and it's something that I am still working on in my own life. It's something I struggle with, and it's something that I just recently come to the realization of, just recently, over the past few months. And so that's why I really wrote the poem, is what is a true woman? A true woman is a woman who embodies an earthly haven, a home, and welcomes other people in. And so, with that being said, I know I opened probably cans of worms. I know I didn't answer solutions to all these problems, but I really just wanted to open a discussion about what it means to be a woman, to open discussion about the lies the feminist matriarchy is talking about. And so I just really hope and encourage you to study God's word and to know what God says of what it means to be a woman. Not what I said, but what God says. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, push that bell button to get notifications so you never miss another video again. And so I'll see you guys next time. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye.